our previous episode, we want to talk to you about sprouting because really that's the next natural step. And the best person that I could talk to about sprouting is no one else than Ease, because she is the sprouting queen.
Sprouting, it's what I'm about. I believe so much in sprouting, so I love sharing this with you. So a sprout is defined as 2 sets of 2 leaves. So you start the growing process by germinating, soaking a seed, and then all the way up to growing a sprout. And during that time, the sprout's immune system, or its phytonutrients, are its strongest. It has to be, withstanding heat, water, insects.
Right.
So what's so exciting is those phytonutrients directly apply to us.
Yeah, totally.
If I drink sprouts or eat sprouts, those phytonutrients build my immune system.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm all about sprouting. So let's do it.
Let's get going. Yeah. Okay. So tell us a little bit about what you've got prepared here for us. And walk us through it.
Sure. So what I do every day is I sprout legumes, so mung beans and common lentils. Lots of protein. So that's a staple for me in all of my smoothies, green drinks in the morning. Then you can go into more salad mixes, different things.
Yeah.
But remember, you can always use mung beans in stir fries.
Right.
Right. So we've got fenugreek, radish, clover, alfalfa, and broccoli. And we're going to talk about these 2 a little more.
Yeah.
So why don't you make a favorite mix that you'd like?
So, I definitely love, so first, I think it's worthwhile mentioning that even though this is a big jar, it's good to remember that in spite of being that big, we really don't want to put too many seeds in there. In fact, a tablespoon, would you say, for a jar of this size?
So let's compare that.
Yeah.
So this has been sprouting for 5 days. This happens to be 5 tablespoons. Look at that.
Right.
Yeah, you get over a pound of sprouts. Just what you're doing is about a teaspoon of each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna put a little bit more of the Brussels sprouts. So we were just making a really nice mix. I like all of them, and because all of them have different properties, right? Part of the reason why I love the broccolis is because the broccoli seeds is because they're so full of phytoestrogens,
right?
And as you know, I work with women with hormonal imbalances. So this is a huge topic for us in a hormones world. The phytoestrogens, a lot of people think that estrogen is a bad thing, right? You hear a lot of time of women being estrogen dominant, and then you also hear about the other side of women who are menopausal, we don't have enough estrogen. And it's interesting about estrogen because estrogens don't have to be all bad. They are good estrogens, or the protective estrogens that actually protect for example, our breasts. So breast cancer, in case you didn't know, is an estrogenic cancer. And so are fibroids, and so is anything to do with uterus, happening in your uterus, and a lot of times it's connected to excessive estrogen. So by using things like these sprouts, especially working with the phytoestrogens, we are able to promote the activity of the protective estrogen, and at the same time inhibiting the aggressiveness, if you like, of estradiol, which is also known as E2, that's the aggressive estrogen. That's what happens, that's what makes our breast cancer, for example, proliferate so quickly, is because of that estrogen. So this is an incredible ability to really, this is like at your disposal at any health store, to give yourself anti-cancer medication and really starve your cancer. This is really what we're doing. So I'm super passionate about this. And it costs $7 or $10 sometimes for a little bucket of sprouts, right, in a health store. And this is something you can get for a fraction of the cost that you can make this in your own kitchen. That's just so wonderful. I just love that DIY stuff.
Well, it's also really great to do with kids.
Right, exactly, like a home project, experiment.
It's so exciting to see something growing.
Yeah,
and then eating it, you got to make it tasty.
Okay, so what do we do with this next? Adding some water?
Add some water, let's soak them, and they don't have to soak a long time because most of them are small, and that's fine.
Yeah. Bit of a stir.
Yeah. Put on the lid.
Yep. Okay.
And I usually soak that 4 to 6 hours, or overnight is fine too. They won't over soak at that point. Great.
Cool.
So the next step is that we would rinse this and see the stringing top
Yeah.
that holds all the seeds in.
Yeah.
So then it would go directly into your rack at a 45-degree angle so that the water can drip out and the air can circulate. Right.
All right. So why don't we strain it? So this happens after a few hours.
4 to 6 hours.
Yep.
Right.
And just want to mention, because not everybody has these sprouting jars. I think what's really important to know is that you don't have to have a sieve like that. So this is perfectly fine just to use like a coffee filter or just a cheesecloth over it, right?
Right. Rubber band. Just use
as long as you get the air going.
bar jar. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to store it at a 45-degree angle. I use a dish strainer. What's important is that the dish strainer be able to hold all the liquid. Some of them drain back into the sink. Be careful with that. And what's fun also is that when a seed grows, it grows in the ground. It grows in the dark. So wherever you put this, I put it in my pantry. Some people use a closet.
Yeah.
Put a towel over it. Let it be in the dark.
Yeah.
Right?
Cool.
And then you're going to rinse it 2 to 3 times a day. Right? One thing I like to add to sprout water and to the rinsing is kelp. If you add a little seaweed, then that is like a boost for the sprout. Just makes it even stronger. And in my diet, I try to get all the seaweed that I can. So Magdalena, thanks for bringing these out.
Yeah.
These, if you're just getting started, here's some ideas of where you can get things. So the sprout jar, $8 online.
Right.
You know, no big deal. Sprout seeds, companies that have been around a long time that I've used for a long time.
Yeah.
And then the kelp, you can get a kelp powder and just sprinkle that in the water when you're soaking them,
So you want
or in the rinse water.
Yeah, so it's just to mention, definitely we want to go with organic.
Right.
With the kelp, we want to be cautious of the
Know your source.
sources. Yeah, so no, just going for really responsible sources. And
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
It's
All right.
simple.
Yeah, it's super simple.
You don't have to have a lot of equipment.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how long does it take to really for the sprouts to be ready to be eaten for us to use it?
Sure. So these sprouts, which is exactly the same sandwich mix that Magdalena did, were done 4 days ago. Right? Look at that.
Yeah. Right. I mean, let's just compare these two. And so we're talking about from here to here in 4 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 days
Yeah.
to actually. And then the last day, I'm going to put it out in the sun. You can see the green starting. It's just been out this morning.
Yeah.
So the chlorophyll comes in 2 to 4 hours. All the leaves on here will be green.
Can I just get you to emphasize the one thing about chlorophyll? Because we just I feel like we very briefly just touched on it, but that's a really, really important part, chlorophyll. Let's talk a little bit about that. What's the big deal about covering them up?
Well, they want to grow. They grow more efficiently in the dark. But chlorophyll is really considered the life of the plant.
Right.
And that's what we want to consume.
Yeah.
It's one of the best phytonutrients
It's out there.
that's out there.
Yeah.
So putting it out in the sun for just a little bit will give us that.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, there are specific programs for women with breast cancer, and so again, estrogenic cancer, who go specifically on a sprouting regimen, and have great results. So we're not saying that this is a cure by any means, and there's a lot of other things you need to do, but it's just a wonderful way of supporting your hormonal balance and your overall health in so many wonderful ways. And you know, we've been doing this for generations. In fact, one story that comes to mind is the story of a little squirrel. You know how squirrels will find a nut and they'll go and hide it somewhere. People really think that, oh, it's just for a later day. Not really. The squirrel would not eat the nut, did you know that? Until it's actually sprouted. And so animals know, and there's a good reason why these little guys do that.
I know, and some of these things we're just relearning ancient wisdom, but
Yeah.
glad we are.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
talking about the broccoli and the alfalfa seeds, my understanding is that there's over 100 natural chemotherapy trials going on in broccoli,
Wow.
and now a similar number about alfalfa.
Yeah.
Different kinds of cancers.
Yeah.
But if I can eat 3 ounces of broccoli sprouts a day, that actually is a daily dose as a chemo preventer,
Yeah.
cancer
And
preventer.
it's very alkalizing as well, right?
It is. And one thing I like about sprouts is that 1 to 3 ounces a day of sprouts, let's take broccoli.
Yeah.
The phytonutrients in that 1 ounce of broccoli equals a 2.4 pound head of broccoli.
Wow.
I'm sitting there
Say
chewing and
it
chewing
again,
and
say it
chewing
again,
all
say it
that
again.
broccoli. Sure. 1 to 3 ounces of sprouted broccoli seeds
Okay.
equals the nutritional value
Okay.
of a 2.4 pound head of broccoli. The phytonutrients, as we said, were the strongest in the sprout, and then they just dissipate
That's amazing.
in the main plant.
I didn't
Same
know
thing
that.
with kale.
Wow.
So when I'm thinking of juicing,
Yeah.
you know, ahead of kale,
Yeah.
it's really let's
Yeah,
do the
totally.
sprouts.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for the strength of the sprouts.
So what do you think? Should we show?
Let's finish the process.
Okay.
Can we rinse these? So
Yes,
can I
yes.
have the bowl of water?
We definitely can.
Okay, if you put that out there.
Okay.
So you can see the holes. Nope. You can see the holes. And that's really what will decrease the shelf life of the sprouts. Because now that they're grown and they're so beautiful, we want to keep them vital for as long as we can. So the holes are what we actually want to rinse out. Yeah.
Okay.
So they mostly float. And all you're going to do, and then I usually put them in a colander to start, but I'll show you how I store them. You have a paper towel, something to keep the water, and then you're going to want a closed container. And you'll pop it in the fridge, and then you'll just
How
eat
long
'em.
do you typically keep it in the fridge?
Well, I even eat sprouts past their beautiful time. When
Okay.
they start decomposing, they're still healthy.
Okay.
I know, they're not pretty, they're not brown, but you know how they'll start wilting a little bit?
Okay.
Not quite as pretty.
Okay.
So they will last.
That's you, but like a normal person would.
I know, I love sprouts. I'll eat them anywhere and anytime. So I would say sprouts would last in the fridge for 5 to 6 days
Okay.
if you do this.
I agree.
Yes, I'm a sprout lover.
Okay.
Let's keep that. And let's
Okay.
do a little bit of mung bean. How about that?
Oh, okay. So we're still rinsing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just because the mung beans and lentils, they were a legume, so a bigger outside casing, and it's just, I think it's kind of interesting, right? So again, you will see how the top, all the shell, the outside's coming off,
Yeah.
and you just take a handful
Mm-hmm.
and put it in a container again.
Right.
So the
okay.
same process.
Right.
I'm gonna
Okay.
leave it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So I love mung beans and lentils because of the high protein.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. As a vegetarian and a vegan, that's definitely that's your go-to protein, right?
Right. I have to manage where to get my protein.
Yeah.
I just do it with sprouts.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's next?
Let's do the sunflower.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've talked about jars and sprouting. Sure. Thanks. So these are sunflower seeds that you could do in soil, or you could do in water.
I just love them. I just really do. It's just
And what's so
awesome.
easy is you just get a salad spinner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And what I did to show this is I sprouted these at the same time. So this is 4 days old. You
Right.
really want to let these grow to like pop up to like here. So that's another 4 days.
So just to be clear, these are sunflower seeds with the seed on, with the shell still in the shell on.
Right.
Right.
Can you see
Right.
that?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I love about this is the roots.
Right.
We often cut these off, but a lot of the nutrition
Yeah.
is in the roots.
Yeah.
Do you know that a red clover can have 2 to 4 miles of micro roots in the ground?
Wow.
Let's just think about eating those,
Yeah.
not just the plant up top.
And speaking of red clover, actually red clover is another wonderful seed that promotes a lot of good estrogens. especially for women who are menopausal, who tend to be low on estrogen. It actually helps to build up the good estrogen.
I love learning this from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. You said, are the seeds up on top?
Yep.
Yeah, there's the shells.
The
Those
shells are
little
there.
bitty guys.
Cool. Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Looks good?
Looks wonderful.
Well, let's show us
Yep.
our finished product.
Okay. So voila.
Ah. So what we've got are the salad mix that we made of clover, broccoli. You put radish in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then we've got fenugreek over here,
Mm-hmm.
mung beans and lentils, and our sunflower sprouts in the middle. So it's great to use them in different things. Like I do the mung bean lentil in a
Mhm.
soup. I cook a soup in the winter,
Yeah.
and then I add a fresh handful of sprouts. So
Yeah.
they don't actually cook, but they warm and add
Yeah.
a little crunch.
Totally.
How about you? How do you?
You know, I really love morning smoothies that are green smoothies without any sugar in them, and at the end I'll throw a bunch of those. I also like to make rice bowls and with a little bit of protein and some seaweed and a bit of ferment, and I'll top it up with some of the sprouts just because it looks so pretty and presentable.
Sounds
It's so
delicious.
good.
Right.
And to be in perfectly honesty, I'm not the biggest fan of I would not be munching on them like the way some people do.
Oh yes.
And so it's a little bit of an acquired taste, but you know that's why I think the smoothies are great, soups are great because you're kind of hiding them.
Well, I'm a diehard, so let's see if you want to join the diehard group. This is a shot of broccoli sprouts. It's our daily dose
Yeah.
to good health.
Wow.
Cheers.
Cheers it is. You know, I always feel so wonderful after these things. It's like, you don't need coffee, you just need this.
Energetically, we just get energized, and for me, my brain actually clears up. Yeah, my thinking.
That was easy, wasn't
Yes.
it? Well, we hope you try it at home too, because it really is totally worth it. It's healing, it's easy, there's just no better way of getting more nutrition into your life.
The life of the sprouts directly to your cells and to your life. Enjoy.